Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen, a passionate health educator, a whole food, plant-based culinary coach, and a master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, an exercise specialist and a wonderful master herbalist. Together, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health. So today we're talking about something that's very relevant if you are listening to this in the spring or right before spring, and that is spring allergies. I guess it could be for fall allergies as well, but so many people start having issues, itchy eyes, runny nose, I can't go outside. And for me, I'm in Costa Rica, and so I'm skipping these spring allergies, but I know everyone back home is really struggling right now. So hopefully we can give you some tips and tools to help ease if you already have spring allergies or help you prepare for them so that you don't have such a strong effect. Anyway, where should we begin with this, Dan?
Well, for most of my advice, when people are asking me about certain health conditions, I'll say, well, the first thing you need to do is avoid the problem.
It's
You
true.
know, like, but this one is like, okay, well, we can't really avoid the problem because every time you walk outside, you're breathing in pollen
Mhm.
and God knows what else. So we can't avoid it, but there are some things that we can do to help our body better deal with these things.
Right, right. Yeah, usually when we're reacting to something like having an allergic reaction or a sensitivity to something, is the immune system is overreacting. And so for some people, they react more to these seasonal allergies because their body's already inflamed. Their immune system's already activated for some other reason, and it's just getting worse and worse. And so those people really can have issues. And so when you start seeing pollen or pollen's coming soon, pollen's not harmful. Pollen doesn't isn't supposed to hurt us. Just some people are a little more sensitive to that. And symptoms can be think they have a cold. Maybe you have a spring cold, sneezing, itchy eyes, congestion in the lungs, congestion in the sinuses, post-nasal drip, and fatigue as well. And so to prepare, I know for me, one of the things before I even keep going, I want to give a medical disclaimer. So, our podcast is for educational purposes only. We are telling you what we use, things that we share with our clients, and what we have experience with. But we want you to do your own due diligence, work with someone who knows you, look into the herbs, and find out if they're right for you because there's no one size fits all. But I know, so for me, my thesis when we went to the School of Natural Healing was on stinging nettle. And stinging nettle is one of those that I tried to start using in early February. It's weird, I don't know if it's climate change or what, but spring seems to be coming sooner and sooner and sooner every year. So sometimes we kind of get behind it. Start a little bit too late, but taking like a stinging nettle tincture or drinking stinging nettle tea daily to prepare the body for that. And maybe that has something to do with all the minerals. Maybe we're feeding the body something that it needs for that time of year.
Yes, with the nettle, though, I mean, they usually tell you that you probably should start at least a month before the allergy season, correct?
Yes, yeah. So that's why we like to start it in like February.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, before it all starts. Yeah, but a lot of times, like I said, people with who already have some sort of chronic condition, um, they're the ones that have the biggest issue with allergies. And when you think about it, it's because the immune system's on alert, and 72% of our immune system's in our gut. So if there's something going on in the gut, if the gut is irritated or inflamed or imbalanced, then that is going to lead to an overreaction to any of these particles like pollen. And so we need to first look at the gut. Does someone have regular bowel movements? We haven't talked about poop in several episodes, actually, have we?
That's crazy.
I know. Do they have regular bowel movements? Are they eating a fiber rich diet? Because chances are they're not. Are they eating foods that are inflammatory? So, it's so easy just to start with the very basics. Are they sleeping? Are they in a high stress state? Because stress also can wear on the gut lining. And so we definitely first want to focus on that. Going back to those foundations. Are we eating a fiber rich food? Are we getting quality sleep? Are we working on releasing chronic stress? That's where to begin. And don't necessarily have to remove things, but making sure we're adding, more fiber-rich vegetables, leafy greens. Nettles are a leafy green. So those foods that are really high in vitamins and minerals. And berries, the brightly colored fruits. I'm always saying eat the rainbow. And then working on those foods that help with the guts, those foods that are mucilaginous. Like yesterday, I was reading about the respiratory system, which is definitely involved in this, but those mucilaginous foods, the demulcents like slippery elm and marshmallow root, they're coating for, wonderful coating for the entire system, the nose, the mouth, even the respiratory system, the whole gut lining all the way through. It's so important. And even that mucilage that they form, like think about chia seeds or flax seeds, they get that mucilaginous, which sounds disgusting, but it coats the body and also feeds the microbes in our gut and helps to balance those. We need those to be nice and balanced and happy and nourished to help with that gut lining to help us handle any immune reactions.
Yes. Oh, can you hear that?
I'm having a little trouble with your sound. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I'm glad you brought this up because a lot of people don't think about their gut when they think about their immune system. So a lot of people, I think my wife has terrible seasonal allergies. She was like, I think last week she goes, I heard that if you take probiotics, it can help with your allergies. Like, yeah, it could because we're talking about the gut health again. Of course, she probably doesn't need one, but for somebody who doesn't eat a lot of fiber, well, how do you think you're going to feed your gut bacteria? You know,
Right. Right.
especially these low carb diets that are the craze now, like the keto or something, you don't get any fiber. And so a lot of people are having trouble with their health on these low carb diets. So we have to look at our gut. We want to get our immune system, balanced. And so one of the things that we learned at the school, there's a formula that Dr. Christopher makes called the immune calm formula. You ever use that one?
Yeah, I had that one on hand at home.
Yeah. It's actually supposed to make your immune system less reactive to the allergens in your environment. And so it also helps strengthen the immune system. It's just astragalus root and marshmallow root. It's just two
Yeah.
herbs.
How great is that? Yeah, nourishing the immune system and coating the lining. I love that.
Yes. Christopher was a really great herbal formula. I mean, he knew his stuff.
Right. Right. Right.
And then quercetin rich foods, or is it quercetin? I can't pronounce it.
Quercetin, yes.
Quercetin. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and make
Actually, we
sure
have
you don't
tried
peel
this.
those.
Yes. I have tried this with my wife. It's a
Uh,
supplement. You can get it in food too. It really did help her, and she's got terrible allergies.
hmm.
But it works as kind of an anti-inflammatory. But I know onions have a good bit of it, but it's probably if you have a lot of allergies, it's probably going to be easier to get a supplement. And I don't sell supplements, but we tried the Now Foods version, and it's really good.
That helped. Yeah. And like I said, don't peel. So like for me, I used to eat apples daily. I've actually been craving apples here in Costa Rica, which is kind of weird. But the quercetin is in that layer between the skin and the flesh of the apple, but also in
Yeah.
onions. So, like if you make like a potassium broth or something, you want to make sure you use those onion skins to get all that quercetin. I save the onion skins to make my own veggie broth every week,
Hmm.
and that's just a great way to get quercetin. So that's definitely one of those things. And then elderflower, and so we're used to using elderberry, but elderflower is also another good source of quercetin.
And Now this one I haven't tried, but I've heard good things.
Mhm.
Butterbur is supposed to be similar to. It's supposed to have what is it everybody takes? Mucinex. I think that what drug? I can't think of the drug name of Mucinex, but I
Right.
remember reading about Butterbur acts in a similar fashion to this drug.
Yeah. I'm not as
Uh,
familiar with it either, but I know it is one of those that's
yeah,
really helpful with seasonal allergies. Yeah.
I don't think it's. I could be wrong, but it may not be an American herb. Maybe it is, but it's just not very popular because I know a lot of herbs, but Butterbur is one of those that I really haven't had experience with. But I do read good things about it with allergies. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah, Christopher told us about the local raw honey. It has to be within 50 miles of your doorstep,
Right.
but it's supposed to help a whole lot with your allergies if you take it because it contains a lot of the allergens in your environment, and it's kind of I guess it'd be like kind of like taking a was it homeopathic solution.
Yeah.
It has
Yeah.
just minute amounts.
I'm a strong believer in local raw honey as well. Of course, we have bees on our farm, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's just little tiny ways of exposing you to that pollen over time. Tiny, tiny, tiny. So your body gets used to it and recognizes it and knows that it's you're okay being exposed to it.
And it's a delicious way. I mean, it's
Yes, I'm all about that.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we also have to support the liver. So the liver is also key in managing immune response and the way we handle different things, like especially like we think about histamines and things like that. So we need to make sure that we're really nourishing the liver, which I think is another reason why I like nettle for this time of year, so that we supply all the minerals that the liver needs. But then there's herbs that can help the liver as well. Before I get to the herbs, but there's more foods too, like lime, ginger, turmeric, things that are really tasty. Think about making a drink like a lime and ginger a tea or something. How delicious would that be? Throw in some mint for some extra minerals and vitamins. And so it's delicious, but also nourishing for the liver. But we can also add in liver nourishing herbs like dandelion and dandelion root, any part of the dandelion. I like to make a wild herb salad. But throwing in those dandelions is wonderful for the liver.
You want to make sure when we're talking about the liver and water, water is so important because if you're even slightly dehydrated,
Mm.
it can cause your allergies to be worse. But if you drink enough water, it kind of helps your body's reaction to allergens in the air. It also helps to thin your mucus, so the mucus comes out of the nose better. And it's just I don't think people think they really don't understand how important it is to stay hydrated. It really,
Right. I have to drink my water while you're saying that.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Stay hydrated. Drink, drink, drink. At least half your body weight in ounces.
And it helps for your detoxification. We had to have water around the clock, and of course, I promote distilled water, but
Me too. Me too. Yes. But other herbs that I like too for the liver, for anything actually, is like burdock root. And it's funny because we use it as an herb, but in many countries it's a vegetable. But using burdock root is wonderful for teas or adding to soups and stews. I even throw it into beans. I just throw in like a handful of the dried herb, and I find that to be very helpful.
then you always think of milk thistle. I think the liver milk thistle is it's so important for liver. It actually protects your liver from toxins. It actually coats the liver, and it's pretty incredible. And it's in most good liver formers are going to have milk thistle.
Yes, yes. And really, those things and also bitters. The liver loves bitter. And
Yes.
we have been trained to crave sweets, eat more sweets, and finding those bitter foods. So we need mineral salts, which are in like our dark leafy greens, celery. I'm gonna make a celery soup today. But things are really high in minerals, but also bitter to help with the liver. The liver that stimulates bile flow and really helps with protecting the liver and helping with digestive enzymes so that you better break down your food, which also helps with better gut health as well.
So they're good to add salads too. A lot of your greens, bitter greens.
Yes, yes. Throw those in, mix them up. Maybe like, so for me, I didn't like arugula. Arugula is so good for everything. Dark leafy green, it's bitter for the liver. It has so many wonderful benefits, wonderful for the heart, circulatory system. But I didn't like it at all. Didn't even like the smell. But I started adding just a few leaves to my salad. And now I could eat an arugula salad. It's just you have to train your taste buds for these foods. So for me, like food is medicine. And so
Yeah.
if I know it's something like that, I can learn to eat it. I can learn to eat it.
Yeah, you get used to anything, and you'll get used to it, just like something sweet. Of course, sweet we crave, but bitter, I think if you eat it enough, your body start to crave it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. When I travel, all of a sudden I'm like, I need my broccoli.
Yeah.
Yes. But there's some other things other than herbs. I'm sure there's more herbs that we haven't mentioned, which I do want to say one and that I use in the fall. I don't really use it in the spring is goldenrod. So I do harvest the goldenrod in my own area and tincture it, and then we take it before the fall allergies start. People think that goldenrod is something that they're allergic to, but it's usually ragweed because it blooms. It's this bright yellow at the same time that ragweed blooms. But really, goldenrod is kind of the remedy for ragweed. And so in the fall, I do use a goldenrod. But there's some lifestyle things that we need to do as well that can be really helpful. I know for me, I love using a neti pot. Just you make sure that it's nice and clean, sterile, and using a saltwater solution. Don't make your own. Make sure you use the appropriate. Sometimes you can even buy the salt solutions that are right, but you want the right combination, their ratio. I've made my own a little too strong before, but rinsing out those nasal passages can be really, really helpful. And then there was washing your eyes. Don't when you come in from somewhere, getting a nice clean washcloth and wiping off your eyelashes. Like we don't even know that those are on there, but wiping off the eyelashes with a nice clean damp cloth and eyebrows, showering before you go to bed so you don't get pollen on your pillow. Especially like if you have like I have long hair, I don't want to come in from the pollen and then get into bed.
Of course, managing your stress, because if you're under a lot of stress, you have more cortisol.
Right.
It is increase your response to allergens. So we want to manage stress. I know that could be a toughie for some people.
Yes. Yes. A lot of us are guilty of that. Managing our stress is definitely key, and finding what form of rest or decompression aligns with you. It took me until I learned qigong a year and a half ago. I didn't find anything. I don't want to sit still and meditate. And so for me, qigong, movement with meditation, has been fantastic. And then it always ends with a 10-minute real meditation, which I never thought I could do, and now I can do it. And so it's just finding what works for you. Some people love to journal. I do not want to journal. That's like I don't like it. And so, but some people love it. And so, what works for you?
And I always talk about sleep, because if we're not sleeping, we're not going to be healthy. We have to make sure we get enough sleep, because this helps keep our immune system strong.
Right, right, right. It's so important. Good quality sleep. Trying to go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day, and doing things to prepare your body for sleep. You start creating bedtime rituals. Dimming the lights at night, not using your devices within an hour of going to bed, maybe even including some bedtime teas, which we have another podcast that I can tag in the show notes on bedtime teas, helping with sleep as well.
So It's not just about pollen, it's about everything. It's about what we always talk about, is about your overall health. That's
Right.
why we always push water, food, sleep, exercise, because your body it works as a unit. It's not broken into parts like they try to tell you.
Right.
It all works together. It's like a symphony.
Yes, yes. We have to go back to those foundations. Good quality sleep, clean water, high fiber foods, eating the rainbow, and then doing little things that maybe you don't think about if it's not allergy season, like washing pollen off your hair, eyes, things like that. Yes. So if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. Hit like and subscribe to our channel, please. If you're watching this on YouTube, also like and subscribe. Comment and let us know your thoughts. If you have other tips, we want to hear from you. If you didn't agree with something we said, we want to hear about that as well. If you found something that helps you with spring allergies, that would be really important to share with everyone. But for now, start small, be consistent. So taking, like for me, nettle tea every day in the morning has been very helpful for me when it comes to allergies. Of course, I left the country, and so I don't have allergies right now. But if I were home, I would be drinking my nettle tea every morning. If you would like to learn more about Dan, go to danthenaturalman.com. To find out more about me, it's Holistic Jen. That is WHOLISTICJEN.com, Holistic Jen. Until next time, keep taking care of this beautiful body and calming your immune system, preparing for the season ahead. We will see you again next week.